General Michael Flynn's military career included a key role in shaping U.S. counterterrorism strategy and dismantling insurgent networks in the Afghanistan and Iraq wars. He was given numerous combat arms, conventional, and special operations senior intelligence assignments. He became the 18th director of the Defense Intelligence Agency in July 2012. And he was the 24th U.S. National Security Advisor for the Trump administration. You want intelligence? This guy's got it in spades. This is Inside the Skiff with General Michael Flynn.
Hey everybody, I'm General Mike Flynn. I want to welcome everybody to Inside the Skiff. And for those that are joining us for the first time, a skiff is a secure compartmented intelligence facility. And I've spent many a day and a night in skiffs, in tactical skiffs on the battlefield, talking about all the kinds of things that we get involved in when it comes to intelligence and working the kinds of systems that we need to be able to fight the nation's wars. So I appreciate all the newcomers, all the people that are now part of Patriot.tv, the family that we're creating around Patriot.tv, all those people that are subscribers. For those that don't know, we recently held this past week a Q&A for our Patriot Defenders Club, and I'm going to try to do that once a week, and that'll be solely for the people that join our Patriot Defenders Club. One of the things that I do like to talk about during this hour that I have, or that you have with me each week, is the situation that's unfolding around the world, particularly over in the Middle East and certainly in Eastern Europe. We had a recent, in fact, last night, overnight, there was an attack by the Ukrainian military against Moscow, and I do believe that the consequences of that could steadily bring us closer to a war that we do not want to see. And that's, I'll use the word nuclear, and I've talked about the use of nuclear weapons on this show and on other shows that I'm on. And those are huge, dramatic steps that a nation may or may not take. And for those people that are paying attention to that part of the world, Russia, about a week and a half ago, changed its nuclear policy, which is a big deal when a nation state like Russia, who has more nuclear capabilities than the United States of America, when they change their policy. Now, what that policy is remains to be seen, but they did come out with a statement in a couple of different media outlets that they discussed changing their nuclear policy. Which, does that mean first use? Does that mean preemptive? I mean, what does it mean? So that's something that I will be paying attention to and reporting on this show, and frankly on other shows that I do come on periodically during the course of my time in the week. The other aspect of what I do talk about is China's role, the CCP's role, not just in the Asia-Pacific theater of operations and Taiwan, which is always one of the big issues that everybody always wonders, is China going to attack Taiwan? But actually, China's influence globally with their One Belt, One Road initiative, and that's a physical, and it is a intellectual, and certainly a cyber road, if you will. So it's not just, and definitely an economic road as well. So it's not just a physical presence of China along some avenue of approach or some road that they're taking up in the northern part of the Central Asian Republic states or something like that. China is now involved and invested heavily in the United States of America, certainly Central America, Southern America, and all over Africa. So when we talk about a rising power, 25, 30 years ago, China was nowhere near the strength or capacity of the United States of America. They certainly had the people of our country in terms, the numbers. We've had more numbers than us, but they didn't have the economic nor the military strength. And fast forward 30 years till today, there are parts of Chinese military that is what we call parity. They have parity with the United States military, and they certainly have a much larger military force, just in terms of humanity, the human beings that are in their armed forces. But the more important thing for me is China's influence here in the United States of America. And one of the things that has one of the most devastating effects is the use of fentanyl on the streets of America. And fentanyl is a manufactured and designed chemical that's made and designed in China, and then they bring it over here and they introduce it through the Mexican cartels up through Mexico, and then primarily through the southern border, and then into the streets of America. And we're now looking at, I think this year alone, we've had over 200,000 killed in action. I call them killed in action because just like on a battlefield where you have somebody who fights for our country overseas against a foreign enemy and and tragically, sadly gets killed. Well, that's happening right here on the streets of America. So that just gives you kind of the breadth, scale, and scope for those that are joining me, the kind of things that I talk about in the skiff. On the other side of that, every so often I love to bring in guests, and I don't usually bring in guests. Usually I will talk about some of the current and some of the projected things that we're involved in, but I've been blessed to through some other friends that I have to get to know and to meet Colby Covington. And so today, and I'm really honored to have Colby Covington join us. And for those that don't know, I'm going to let him introduce himself here in a second. But Colby Covington, part of the bio, it says former welterweight champion, right? But actually, I don't think you're ever a former champion. You're always a champion, right? I mean, people are going to introduce you as a champion, right? You're a champ. And you probably have guys and close buddies of yours that call you, hey, champ. When you're a champion, it's but Colby, that it takes an extraordinary amount of discipline and effort to get to the level of being called a champion. And having been on some championship teams, I know that it also takes a team of people to get you there. So I want to say welcome, Colby. It's my real honor to have you on today inside the skiff on Patriot.tv. And what I'd ask you to do maybe, Colby, is just take a few minutes to just introduce yourself to this audience. It's probably a different audience than you normally talk to. Great American patriots, love this country and certainly love our military. So Colby, maybe a little bit of your background and what got you into UFC fighting.
Well, first off, General Flynn, the honor and privilege is truly mine to be here speaking with you today. You've been a role model, someone I've really looked up to for decades, and someone I aspire to be like. So, for someone to be so selfless like yourself, who's, put it all on the line for the red, white, and blue to protect us, here in America, that, you guys get the biggest respect and love that there should ever get. I've been a champion in sport, in the sport of fighting, but, I haven't fought for my life and to defend other people's lives like you have in this country. So thank you so much for having me on today. It really is a privilege, and it's going to make me go train harder in training today when I go to the gym. So thank you. And
one of the things, so just because you're hitting on something that's so important to me, training and getting and preparing yourself, right? So, how did you decide, like at what age or where, were you always in like silver mittens or golden gloves? Those are things that I did in the boys club system years ago. I mean, before you were, a sparkle in your mom's eyes, right? I mean, I was involved in basically, as a street kid kind of growing up, and then I got pulled into the boys club. What got you into this sport? And then how did you get disciplined to where you became a champion?
So when I was a little kid, my mom had got me into karate. And then the following year, my dad got me into wrestling. So I always had a passion for martial arts and understanding the arts and being able to use them and be able to defend myself in case, there was a bully or intruder. So, I was always passionate about martial arts. Wrestling became my true love. So I wrestled through elementary school, middle school, high school, all the way through college. And I was like, I got done with college wrestling. I was like, what can I do with this? I put 20 years of my life into wrestling and giving all I have every single day, blood, sweat, and tears. a good, healthy diet, a disciplined, healthy lifestyle, making the right choices to be the best athlete I could be. But the wrestling, there's no avenue like a professional avenue to go be a professional and make money. So I was like, you know what? I want to go into, UFC. I want to be a ultimate fighter. So that became my passion after college. And especially growing up, I was like on the smaller end as a kid. So I was like always getting bullied and picked on. So that was like my training and motivation when I would go to the gym every day. When I would hit the bag, I would hit it extra hard, and I would think of the bullies, and I would say, I want to be that guy that no one can ever bully. That's my motivation when I train. Don't ever be bullied. Don't ever let someone bully you. Work hard and don't ever let them be able to do that. So that was my training and my motivation in training. And here I am today. I'm ranked number 4 in the welterweight division of the UFC. I've been a former world champion of this division. Which that title will stay with me for the rest of my life. And, I've fought in some of the biggest fights and done some of the biggest and best business that the UFC's ever done on pay-per-view. So, I'm thankful for God and country, because without those two, I wouldn't be here.
Wow. I mean, it's just an awesome story. So, how about your your upbringing, your background? I mean, I think it's really of real interest to any audience. Is like, kind of, where did you come from? Your family upbringing, things like that. I mean, whether it was a different or a tough upbringing, or, like I always talk about my Irish family all the time, right? I mean, and I have 9 brothers and sisters. So, I mean, it's you live in a family like that. My father was a tough Irishman. A little bit about your personal story, because I think that's always of interest to folks.
Yeah, so, I had kind of a split family upbringing and, a split household, but, I respected both my parents immensely. My dad put me into wrestling. My mom got me into karate. I drew a lot of motivation from my grandfather on my mom's side, Grandpa Kurt. He was in the U.S. Air Force, and he flew in the Korean and Vietnam War. And he gave me a lot of motivation just about being a hard worker and what it takes to put it all on the line to be the best at what you can be. So, he really affected my mentality, and he's the one that, every time I go into a fight, I'm thinking, it's kill or be killed. That's what he told me. When you go out there and you put it all on the line, it's kill or be killed. And that's what it is. And it's nothing personal. It's just, it's got to be you or him. So that mentality freed me from caring about winning and losing and fighting, and just trying to go out there and do what I love most and have fun with it. So grew up in a.
No, I love that. I mean, I love that about that. That's inspiring. I mean, we all have that. I have grandfathers who served in World War I. My father served in World War II, Korea. Brothers who. I mean, my family has, and I still have. My son serves right now. My brother's still serving. So I mean, my whole upbringing is really about the military. And honestly, if it wasn't for the military, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And you work hard to get to these levels that we got to, right? I mean. You don't get, sprinkle fairy dust and suddenly you're a UFC champion, I mean, you got to get up early, you hit the streets, hit the pavement, hit the bag, and make sure that that you eat right. So let me, because we're going to go into a break here pretty soon, talk about your day. What is it that you do on a daily basis? Like, what kind of stuff do you eat? How do you prepare on a daily basis, mentally and physically?
Yeah, I think it's probably similar to a lot of what you and, a lot of the guys in your squadron had to do. You live a very disciplined lifestyle. It's a 24/7, 365 commitment. Just like they say, I know in the military, there's no off season for war. There's no off days for war. You have to be prepared for war at all times. So, I kind of have that same mindset that, I stay ready. I don't want to have to get ready. I want to stay ready. So to stay ready, you have to have a very healthy diet. Every single day, I'm eating healthy foods. I'm eating whole foods, wholesome foods, earth-grown foods that, and I really model that from the food pyramid growing up that I learned in school, which is probably one of the only things that, the school system actually taught me that was useful, is that there's this food pyramid. You want to make sure you get your greens, you want to get your proteins, you want to get your carbs. And of course, you want to be very hydrated. You want to be drinking a gallon of water a day. So, no fried foods, no fast foods, no processed foods. Stay away from eating out too much. So, that became my mission to be the healthiest guy in the room, to outwork people. You had to be healthier than them. So, I never put bad things in my body. Every single time I put something in my body, I didn't do it because I liked it. I did it because I wanted to see the benefits from it. I didn't do it, eat some McDonald's because it tastes good. Yeah, it tastes good, but that's temporary satisfaction. I wanted long-term satisfaction. I wanted to leave a legacy in my sport. And to do that, I had to create an extra edge for myself. I had to work harder. I had to eat cleaner. And so every meal I've ever eaten is just to serve a purpose for my temple. My body is a temple. It's a high octane motor, and I want to put the good things in that, not the unleaded. I want to put the premium in, so to speak. So, that healthy lifestyle and healthy diet has really helped me to propel me to be one of the best athletes in the world.
Beautiful. We're gonna take a short break, and when we come back, I'm gonna ask Colby to talk about America's Champions Foundation, something that he is very passionate about. So when we come back after the break, and please pay attention to the advertisements on our break. This is how we maintain ourselves as Patriot.tv. See you in a little bit.
Sounds rolling. All 3 cameras. We're good.
Is there any regrets that you have in life? I should sit here and say, yeah, I got a lot of regrets. But when I look back on my life and I understand the lives that were lost, I'm sitting here with you. And I can tell my story.
Former National Security Advisor, Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, pleaded guilty today to lying to the FBI.
He was one of the most respected generals in the military.
He was, by definition, the most dangerous possible person for Donald Trump to hire.
Brilliant military career, serving 33 years.
Why was he being so elusive?
Mike Flynn told the truth and faced life in prison.
Every American needs this historical DVD keepsake. Flynn delivered the truth, whatever the cost. Hand signed by General Michael Flynn, one of America's most treasured military heroes. Order now at the Patriot TV store. Go to Patriot TV, click on Store, and grab a once-in-a-lifetime chance to own a treasured piece of American history. And get your own personal download link to watch America's most talked-about movie, as well as a DVD hand-signed by General Michael Flynn. Use promo code PTV at checkout to get special savings. The Patriot TV store. Incredible savings and a secure, hassle-free shopping experience.
The world is about to shift. Banks are going cashless globally with the emergence of central bank digital currency, which will bring with it programmable money and the ability to turn on or off your purchasing power based on your digital social profile. It's like the equivalent of spyware in your bank account. You need to get out of the system with the world's safest and most precious assets, silver and gold. Call Kirk Elliott Precious Metals at 720-605-3900. That's 720-605-3900.
Welcome back to our great Patriot.tv audience. You're inside the skiff with General Michael T. Flynn. Today, I'm very honored to have as my guest Colby Covington, champion, a UFC champion, welterweight world champ. Just an incredibly good guy, too, and a wonderful person that I have gotten to know. One of the things that Colby is very, very passionate about, and the name of his foundation is America's Champions Foundation. And really, it's to make a difference in the lives of those who give so much to others. And so what I'd ask you, Colby, is maybe just walk us through what got this started. Like, why did you create this? Why did you get behind this? And then give us a little bit about what America's Champions Foundation is about.
Okay, so I've seen all these other charities, first and foremost, I look up to military and first responders that serve and protect us more than they're my role models. Those are my professional athletes. Those are the people that, I want to be like, and I'm inspired to be like, those are the people that they go to their jobs. They don't know if they're coming home to their family. And then you got a guy like LeBron James who people look up to, and he's going to his job and he's going to make millions of dollars. And he just puts a basketball in a hoop. He plays a little kid's game. So you guys are actually real warriors, and you're protecting our freedoms. You're protecting our communities, our country. And that is just the most honorable thing you could absolutely ever do. So I wanted to do something where I could give back to those people, those first responders, those military, those vets. And that's why I wanted to start, my nonprofit charity, americaschampion.org. And how it came about together is, my best friend, he's a first sergeant. I grew up with him my whole entire life in Oregon, a small town in Oregon. And he became a first sergeant for the airborne unit at Fort Bragg. And, I was talking with him. He's very successful, and we're just like, how can we give back to the military and do more to really show our appreciation for them? So that's where, this organization started. And, I have a bunch of other best friends, a command sergeant major from Fort Jackson. We have, some high enlisted officials on the Navy side. We have a sergeant that's sergeant of the police station in Miami Beach. And we brought together this team of just patriots, just all patriots working for patriots. And these are a bunch of guys that are successful already. And this is not about making money. This is about giving back everything to our military, because you see a lot of these charities and all they are, these executives, they're flying their private jets, they're buying Rolls Royces with their charities. It's not authentic. It's a scam. And that's what we stand up against. I don't need the money. Nobody on our organization needs money. It's about giving back to our patriots, the people that we love and respect the most. And so that's how we formed this organization, americaschampion.org.
So Colby, what are some of the things that you guys champion? So how do you give back? What are some of the things that you do for veterans or first responders? And I really do think you're so right about how you described a lot of these other organizations that are out there, and the idea of really the noble cause of serving in uniform for our country. It is truly a noble cause, because you're right, and it's mostly young men, but young men and women who are, who have to sacrifice, sadly. And in that noble cause extends to our first responders, our police, particularly our police and firemen. I know many police and firemen who have been serving, across the country, and many of them have served in the military. I know a lot of guys that have gotten out of the military that went and served in local police and state police in some cases, and certainly in fire departments. But so how do you guys, what are some of the ways that you give back?
So the ways we give back is, anytime we can, donate to a cause or a big situation that's going on. I know a couple weeks ago we donated, some new belt loops for the police station. And I know my buddy at Fort Bragg had also planned a trip to boost morale for a fallen soldier overseas and helping the family out and taking the family on a rafting trip and a golfing trip and doing things like that. So the more funds we're able to raise, the more things we're able to do. So, we have a poker tournament actually coming up in April at the Hard Rock Casino. We got in with the Seminoles, and we're going to start hosting this yearly poker tournament there. And that's going to be a big fundraiser opportunity to really build these funds so we can give back and do more about, all these situations where, our vets and our military are just completely left in the dust while, illegal immigrants are thriving, living in 5-star hotels, getting $10,000 checks and just being taken care of more than the people that served our country. So as we grow and we get bigger, we're still in the beginning stages. We're about a year and a half, 2 years old. So as we develop and keep growing as an organization and do more events, then we'll be able to give back more and do more. So we have a big event in April at the Hard Rock, General Flynn. So if you're free, I would love it if you could come out and support the cause.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's plan that. And maybe what we can do is some of the people that you guys have benefited, and just to give it some thought, maybe you bring a couple of those people, if they're able to make it, to the event, and we recognize them. We recognize them again by just saying, here are some of the people that have benefited from your cause, and then maybe there's some new people there that you want to recognize at that moment. I mean, it's those kinds of moments are so special for people that don't think that anybody is giving them the time of day, is even thinking about them. And when somebody reaches out to somebody that has served our country in uniform, in the military, or certainly as a first responder, believe me, it's probably one of the most special moments. I've been part of it. I have supported organizations that have done that. And one of the things that you hit on it that's really bugs me a lot is the fact, and I think our numbers right now, I think we've got 55 to 60,000 homeless veterans on the streets of America, which just drives me nuts. And yet we're giving illegals, millions of them, we're putting them up into, sort of 5-star treatment. We're giving them all kinds of benefits. We're having all these different things. And that's taking place all over the country. And I know that we have at least that many veterans homeless. And I mean, before our country should do anything, it should benefit those who have served our country in uniform overseas and have become, in many cases, debilitated from those, whether it's post-traumatic stress, whether it's somebody who's wounded. I mean, we help out an organization down the street from where I'm at right here. I'm on the west coast of Florida, and there's a couple of organizations actually here, but there's one that an old Sergeant Major friend of mine that has been, he's been running it. And it's almost sad that our government, because the people of the country always come out. The people, we're the most giving citizens on the planet, Americans. But it's too bad that our government pays more attention, particularly the government that we have right now, pays more attention to these illegals invading our country than to the veterans who served it. And I think with causes like yours, americaschampions.org is where people can find you and find what you're behind and donate to it. And I know that money, because I know the type of person that you are, that money is going to go to really good people who need this type of commitment and who need this type of support. I mean, they sacrifice for us. We need to give back a little bit to them. And it just irritates me to no end when I hear about all this stuff that illegals are getting. And now, maybe we'll talk a little bit about this. Now they're going to be given the right to vote for leaders in our country that we don't even, they haven't even assimilated. They haven't even really gotten to come into our country and go on the right process. So we're gonna take another break, Colby. When we come back, maybe we'll talk a little bit about this issue, because the election does matter. We're less than 60 days from the election, and I know you have an affinity for the direction that this country is going to take. So after the break, we'll come back with Colby Covington, massive UFC champion, and he's got some things that he wants to talk to us about, not only with his foundation, but some upcoming events that he's got here in Florida and other places around the country, up in New York, and the one that he just mentioned in April, so where people can find you too. So we'll be right back inside the skiff with General Mike Flynn.
Don't let them win. Patriot TV is committed to delivering the truth. America's new network for patriots is growing fast, and we'd love you to join us as a member of Patriot TV. Your support makes it possible for us to continue to deliver unbiased reporting, thought-provoking discussions, and insights you won't find anywhere else. From in-depth interviews to behind-the-scenes footage, Patriot TV brings you closer to the voices shaping our nation's future. Whether it's political developments, cultural shifts, or global affairs, Patriot TV keeps you informed and empowered. As a member of Patriot TV, you'll get perks like personal invitations to exclusive Patriot TV events, where you can gather and network with like-minded Americans. We'll also host online events throughout the year with General Flynn, who's committed to host live Q&A webinars where callers like you can ask him questions and get real answers. Access to these events will be members only, so go to patriot.tv, click on Become a Member. It's fast and easy. We have a great membership option starting at just $9.99 a month, or save with our annual membership for only $99, or take advantage of the best value, the 2-year membership for just $159. Go to patriot.tv, click on Become a Member. It's fast and easy. Do your part to make sure the truth gets out to all patriots and help ensure future programming. Become a member today. Just go to patriot.tv, click on Become a Member, join today.
Welcome back to Inside the Skiff. I'm General Mike Flynn. I have a very special guest with me today, Colby Covington, a UFC welterweight world champion, really an amazing person, amazing individual. We were talking on before the break, we were talking about his foundation, America's Champions Foundation. And I'm going to ask Colby to talk a little bit more about what motivates him and what drives him and what are the things that he likes to see for people that are in our country. What is he the direction that he wants to see our country go? And I also we'll talk a little bit about Colby, for you, where people can find you, in the world of UFC fighting too, because I know you got some events coming up, and I think people want to follow certainly what you're doing. I mean, I know that you've got an amazing group of fans out there. I'm one of them. So, to kind of back up to your foundation, because I think it's such an important foundation in what you guys do, what your team does in giving back to people who give so much. What motivated you to stand it up? Like, what caused you to say, I want to get involved in this?
I think what most inspired me to want to get involved with this is just seeing that no one else was supporting this, and you only hear one way of the spectrum, the left side, and defund the police, and no one cares about the military. Illegal immigrants are prioritized above our vets and our military. So I wanted to be the voice for the voiceless. I have a platform. I fight on the highest world level that you can fight on the UFC, on pay-per-view, these big main event fights. So I wanted to make sure that I use my voice and my platform for what I believe in, what inspires me. And that's God, country, and the military vets and first responders, police and firefighters. So, that's why we started this organization, and I'm going to make sure that we make the biggest impact possible. That's what's going to leave my legacy in this world, this physical life before I go to heaven one day. Is that I make a good impact and impact a lot of people's lives, because that's what God's plan has for me, to come here and make an impact. Don't be selfish. Be selfless like yourself, serving the country and doing all you've done. I want to emulate, and I want to be that same type of character and same type of person who's selfless and puts himself second and puts the people that I respect and appreciate the most, military and vets and first responders. I'm going to put them first and make sure that they're never ever underappreciated.
It's so awesome, and it's inspiring, and I think people need to be inspired right now, because there's so many people out there that feel like, God, where do we find hope? And I'll tell you, just listening to you, and I want more people to listen to you and to go check you out. Go to americaschampion.org and check this foundation out. I mean, we need inspiration. We need leaders in the country right now. We need people who are going to stand up and pound the desk and get out there like you do, like you were saying earlier. Get out there early in the morning. It's not only working out physically to get yourself to a level where you need to be as a champion, but also, intellectually, morally, every aspect of our lives, spiritually. I mean, I think people take for granted the spiritual system and situation that we find ourselves in this country right now. I mean, I feel like we're in partly a spiritual war with some of the evil that we seem to be facing. And I think people want, and they seek hope, and they find it in people like you, because you stand up there, and I've watched you, you get inside the ring, you are so disciplined, you're such an amazing athlete, and then you stand there at the end, and it's like you're not just patting yourself on the back, you are a champion for everybody. And that to me is like, it's like, wow. And that's why I think so many people are attracted to you, not only as a champion in the ring, but a champion outside the ring. And to me, we're looking for that, because all of us are in the ring. All of us are put in the ring at some capacity, right? I mean, metaphorically, we're in that, we're sort of under the scope, right? Especially if you're a high profile person. And it's not just how you function inside the ring, it's also how you function outside. And, are you somebody like you are, very, very humble person, very gifted in how you deal with others outside the ring. You really do come across as just somebody who's just such an authentic patriot. And I appreciate that so much. So, and, in terms of going forward in the country, because I know you pay attention to a lot of things. What do you see? We have, I don't know, we're under 60 days now to the election on the 5th of November, big election. Some states have already started this mail-in ballot stuff. People have already started to vote. There's all kinds of noise out there. We get bombarded by frankly, just, the government loves to call it disinformation, misinformation, just lies. They're just flat out lies sometimes. I mean, what we talked about with homeless veterans, it's undeniable that we have tens of thousands of homeless veterans on the streets of America, yet we're putting illegals into 5-star hotels and giving them paychecks, on a monthly basis. It just drives me nuts. But so going forward, if you could put your imprint on what you want people to understand and what you want people to focus on, what are the kinds of things that you would like them to take away from this conversation?
I would say that this election is so important that it's not just about the next 4 years. It literally will affect the next 4 generations. If Kamala gets in office, we're going to be up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. We're going to be potentially in a world war because we don't have a strong leader that can stand up to these other world leaders. And if we know what happened, better than anybody. If there's nuclear war, we're all going to die from radiation. So people need to vote like their life depends on it. Like, we have to get Trump in office. This is capitalism versus communism. If Trump doesn't get in office, we're screwed here. They're going to keep letting illegals flood the border. Inflation's going to go to all-time highs where nobody can afford it. Like, there will be no middle class. Like, it'll literally just be the elites, and it'll be us, down here in the lower class. So, this election is so important, and people, we need to make this too big to rig. We know that, social media has aided in censoring, conservative accounts and not letting the truth get out there. So I challenge the kids, the next generation, the Gen Zers, and just all the people on this call, just find the research for yourself. Look for the facts. Look for the real information. Don't look at what CNN is telling you, because they're fake news. They're just going to feed you propaganda. And look at Mark Zuckerberg. He even came out and said that Facebook and Instagram was censoring, all the truth and the facts in the last election. So we all know the last election was stolen. We cannot let this election be stolen, because if it is, then America will fall. It'll be like Rome back in the day. So, I just challenge everybody to not vote with emotions, vote with what like your life depends on it, because it literally does depend on it.
Yeah. I always tell people, Colby, that, America really, we have a whole bunch of values, right? We talk about values all the time. What are your values? I look at America and I say the values of America are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? And they come right out of our Declaration. They're a statement about what I believe, and I'll speak for myself in this case, but I think those are values, like the value of life, the value of liberty, right? Freedom versus tyranny. The idea of the pursuit of happiness. And what does that mean? That means that I want to be able to do without hurting others, without impinging on others. I want to be able to pursue a life for my family, for myself, and for my community that is better than what my father gave me, right? That kind of an idea, that sort of a mindset, right? I mean, every generation wants to, I want to give something better to my kids, and I want my kids to give something better to their kids, my grandchildren. So I think that all those things matter, and that's what people are really looking for right now. I do believe that leadership, at the end of the day, it matters so much inside of the Oval Office. The idea of what we are dealing with right now, a person in the name of Biden, and of course the vice president in the name of Harris, we don't know if Joe Biden is awake 24 hours a day. I mean, we just don't know that. And it's very clear that he has some mental faculty problems. I won't call it by their various, medical names, but he clearly has a problem. And the guy can't finish a full sentence. If it gets too late in the day, is he able to comprehend the types of tough decisions that a president of the United States is going to have to make? When we have soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines all over the world, when there's a situation inside of this country where there's a really difficult time, and the president needs to get woken up at 2:00 in the morning and asked, hey, in this case, hey, sir, we need you to make a decision. Is the guy even there? And when we talk about Harris, somebody who was put into the position that she's currently in, which is the leading candidate for, the Democrat Party ticket, she's never received one vote. Never one vote. It's amazing when you think about it. And And in a way, they did their own little internal coup. So all of these things matter. And this is what I want people to understand. And I think for this audience, and frankly, I know for the audience that you do talk to, when you're out there talking about the kinds of issues that you're involved in, particularly in the world of UFC fighting, but all of the millions of people that follow that, I think what people are looking for is just flat out honesty. Be honest with me. If there's one thing that we were always taught as a kid, it's like, be honest, right? I mean, tell me the truth because, this is, it's going to come out anyway. So, and when you get to that point, it's like, okay, now I can deal with it. Now, like we would say in the military, bad news doesn't get better with time, right? You give me the bad news now, and I can start to solve it now. And I think what we have to do as Americans is we've got to decide that this is the problem that we're going to solve, and we need to solve it with the right leadership. And from my perspective, and I know from yours, that answer is for this particular election is Donald J. Trump. Where he talks about make America great again. I love this make America healthy again. God, you're a picture of that. And I like to say make America vote again because not enough people actually exercise their right to vote, particularly young people. Young people between the age of 18 and 35, let's say. You know how many 18-year-olds have given their lives for this country so another 18-year-old in today's day and age can actually exercise that right? I mean, that's what I want young people to understand is that there's people out there willing to sacrifice their lives for things that they don't totally understand in places that they don't want to be, they'd rather not be, and they're doing it for people that in some cases they don't even care if they're there. And that's the essence of the American soldier, right? And same with police officers, same with firefighters who go into a burning building, police officers who rush into a door to save another life. And I think that, to me, you got me on my soapbox now. So I appreciate everything that you're doing. Talk a little bit about how do we find you in the world of UFC? What other upcoming events do you have going on?
Yeah, so you can find me in the world of UFC. My comeback is going to be, for the people, for our military, for our vets, for our great president who's sacrificed it all, and had the government weaponized against him, just like yourself, and that's what this fight and this vote is for. Is not letting the government impede on our constitutional rights. We the people, our forefathers intended for this country to be free and for us people to decide how we should live our life, not how the government should tell us to live our life and what we should do. And you should take this shot and that's what's healthy. Oh yeah. So I remember when they were saying, take the shot. Oh yeah. This fat guy that's like 300 pounds is trying to tell one of the healthiest athletes alive, oh, you got to inject yourself with this. This is what's going to make you healthy. Nah, bro. We the people. This is, I know what's going to be healthy. I'm one of the healthiest people alive, and nothing wrong with me. So I want to make the decisions, but that's what it boils down to is not having our freedoms taken away. But in the fighting world, I'm trying to make my comeback and get my world title, and I want to do this. I want to ride off in the sunset with the world title next summer. So I got to come back and beat someone in a #1 contender fight, and it's looking like the UFC and Dana are trying to line that up for either Madison Square Garden in November or maybe come to Tampa in December. So they're trying to figure out, when my comeback is exactly going to be and who the highest ranked opponent and biggest name and biggest business the company can do for me. So we're just waiting to see who the opponent is, but I can assure you I'm healthy, I'm ready. I can't wait to get back in that octagon and fight for the people that I love the most, military, veterans, and first responders. So this one's for you guys. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for serving and sacrificing for our country and so I can live my life and have the opportunities I have today. So I can't wait to come back and fight for you all soon.
No, you're amazing. I mean, just amazing. And thank you so much for taking some time to be with me today. Again, for people to find what Colby is about, America's Champions Foundation, americaschampions.org, right? americaschampions.org. And there you go. Put that up. And then be looking for Colby, getting that title back under his belt, going out on a strong note. You're already on a strong note. You are an American champion. And I will tell you that as we go forward, America is looking for champions. We're looking for champions in all walks of life, whether it's in our, in the the business side, in the world of athletics, in the world of politics, and just on the streets of America, we are looking for champions. And the thing about heroes on the battlefield, Colby, when you study heroism and the acts of heroism that we have seen throughout the history of warfare, the heroes are never the person or people that you think are going to be the heroes. Like, you see some tough guy at school, or you see some guy in the world of sports that you're in, or you see somebody in the military or in athletics somewhere, and you kind of go, oh yeah, that guy, he seems like the right guy. But then all of a sudden, I will tell you, on the battlefield, it's like I use everybody in the military, particularly in the Army, knows the Audie Murphy Club, right? That's basically the sergeant's club. Audie Murphy was a hero in World War II. And, that particular person, he rose to the occasion during a really difficult time. And that time was when his men were being basically engaged by an enemy. And out of nowhere, this little guy came and rose to the occasion, and he ended up being a Medal of Honor recipient. So, just incredible stories about heroism from the least likeliest people. And that's what I'm asking the American people to understand today, is that we need heroes and we need champions, and Colby Covington is one of them, not only in the world of UFC sports and UFC fighting, but also in the world of looking out for our men and women in uniform, those that have served in uniform, our veterans, and certainly our first responders. So, Colby, I'm honored again to have you on the show today, and I welcome back anytime. And I actually look forward. I don't care whether you tell me you're up in Madison Square Garden or whether you're in Tampa, or whether you're out in Nevada or something. I'll come out there. You just let me know.
Thank you so much, General Flynn. It's been my biggest honor to be here and talk with you today, and I can't wait to have you front row at this next fight. Let's take back our country.
Here we go. Let's go. God bless everybody. You're inside the skiff with General Mike Flynn, and I really appreciate the audience today. Thanks for supporting Patriot.tv.
General Michael Flynn's military career included a key role in shaping U.S. counterterrorism strategy and dismantling insurgent networks in the Afghanistan and Iraq wars. He was given numerous combat arms, conventional, and special operations senior intelligence assignments. He became the 18th director of the Defense Intelligence Agency in July 2012. And he was the 24th U.S. National Security Advisor for the Trump administration. You want intelligence? This guy's got it in spades. This is Inside the Skiff with General Michael Flynn.